piso here. We create thought and everything with our brains. We are the true gods. People that accept, like all the people infected with religious psychosis, this form of schizophrenia, that accept imaginary friends as reality, they are nuts. They are ill. They should go to a neurologist to get through salvation. Here are some clips that makes my point.
Neurons, zapping millions of electrical and chemical signals at up to 200 miles per hour. These 3-pound blobs of fat and water let us think, feel, want, remember, and react.
And also create thought.
It really is what makes
and
us
God.
Because and so the brain is you.
And this scholar
When you is at risk.
Amazing.
Amazing. And Christians like to handle snakes like big retards in the name of Christ.
You've been obedient to God.
And there are two Christians.
In their own words, you're not going to get out of this life.
First blood as a sacrifice, and then of course rifles, you know, later.
23-year-old Brandon Carson has a large cancerous tumor near a region of his brain critical for language.
There is some Christians speak in tongues, glossolalia.
Challenge to Dr. Linda Lane doesn't have pain receptors, so Brandon doesn't feel anything, even when they do wake him up.
Good.
Using easily identifiable flashcards, a psychologist tests Brandon's language capacity. Yao disrupts tiny areas of his language center
Or the
with
Star
a
of
mild
David.
electric shock.
Okay.
Ask him about the invisible friend Jesus and see what section lights up.
Something she couldn't do just 10 years ago. Liao
See?
can cut out the tumor with confidence.
Technology. Thanks to
With a living,
science.
functioning, awake brain exposed, neuroscientists get a rare
Not
opportunity
stupid.
to peer inside
Believing God is stagnating the
individual blood
intellect.
vessels and glimpse the mysterious organ in action.
Mapping the human brain is a holy grail. We all want to do it. You know, we want to create a map where we know what structures are where and what the function is in those structures. But unlike the map of the Earth, where there's latitude and longitude and so forth, the human brain is individualized.
See?
Each is different from the other.
Exactly.
It's what makes us unique.
Exactly.
This visualization system is actually
At
Product of
UCLA's
evolution.
Laboratory of Neuroimaging, Dr. Arthur Toga is just beginning to understand these differences with what's called the Brain Atlas.
Just beginning.
Thousands and
Just
thousands
beginning.
of human subjects, various ages, various groups, and various.
That's reason they cannot say religion is a mental illness,
We
not
can
yet.
watch a brain develop from 5 years old to 90.
But Christians act like nuts. They are
and
deranged. They
start to
believe in
degrade
imaginary
during
friends,
middle age.
just like the schizophrenic do. Exactly the same thing.
Comparing a man and a woman's brain. His may have more volume, but hers has added surface area. Here's the brain activity of someone who speaks one language and someone who speaks two. A right-hander and a lefty. The Brain Atlas looks at our master organ.
I wish to compare an atheist brain to the christ-psychotic one.
Individual neurons.
Never do it. That's a hot subject.
Functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI. We can see the exact spots where conscious thoughts originate as they form. Navigating a map, listening to music, experiencing fear and laughter.
Sure believe in
It's
God.
remarkable, and you can
They haven't
watch
died
the
yet.
brain function in a normal living individual.
You learn to control your brain, it may be possible to use the brain to influence the body in very unusual ways.
Very true. Very true.
Thanks to these new real-time glimpses into the brain, Brandon will soon wake up from his surgery.
And if it wasn't for Christian neurological stagnation, we would be doing this procedures 1,000 years
to
ago.
understanding how it all works.
See, you cannot understand how this works with the religious psychosis infecting your brain.
I think that as you learn, you know, where vision is and where I control my hand
Exactly,
from, where my
exactly.
speech is located, you begin to feel like I'm understanding this circuitry. And I think I understand how the brain works. And then you get into it a little more deeply, and you realize you don't know very much at all. That the wonder of the
That's
human
right.
brain is sort of one of these great frontiers.
We don't know.
That's the truth.
That universe is
The more you learn,
within.
the dumber you realize you are.
Exactly. Very well said. And And the stupid Christian retards think God created everything. They're idiots. You should learn science and watch programs like this.
Or pumping station.
To get educated. God creating everything in 6 days. What a bunch of idiots. People are delusional idiots that belong in a mental institution.
Each individual are 99.9% identical. No two of us are exactly the same. It is the body's largest organ, our skin. Into our hair and skin and give them color. It's just the amount of melanin these cells produce that determines whether we are black or white, brunette or blonde. Generally speaking, the more the melanin, the darker.
It takes 15,000 years for evolution to change the color of the skins. We used to be black since the beginning. So much for christ-psychotic bigots.
Blood vessels. Skin carries as much as 1/3 of the heart's hot, freshly pumped blood. Get too hot, and these vessels can widen to release heat from our bodies, enabling us to assess and appreciate the world around us more than any other sense. Our brains continually compare new data with information processed a split second.
There you go, christ-psychotics.
Combine that with what they already expect to be there.
You got creator.
Is born.
This is what an affection of the temporal lobes do to people. They induce visions and crazy thinking.
62-year-old Linda Morfoot has a genetic disease called retinitis pigmentosa.
There you go.
Which has been gradually degrading her eyes' photoreceptors for the past 40 years.
Okay, that's good.
There you go.
They haven't turned light into sight for the last 10. Should act as a simple retina, turning light into impulses that can be sent to the brain.
The product of science, people. If you're trying to
stimulates the underlying
pray to the delusion and imaginary friends,
the brain,
you still would not recover the sight. But a scientist can create a device and make you see, retards.
Special pair of sunglasses.
Religious is the greatest stagnant of the intellect.
Convert it into electrical signals and fire up the implants in her eyes.
Thanks to science.
As the
is brainwaves. And brainwaves are electricity that are generated by the brain itself. And we're going to
pint of air, some 20,000 times a day.
That's the residence of the soul. The lungs.
Down the throat, past the voice box, and into the wind wide and divide into thousands of smaller and smaller branches, spread across each lung, with a combined surface area roughly 1/3 the size of a tennis court.
Come on, Christians. Look inside yourself.
Oxygen molecules
learn science
lungs here through walls just 1 cell thick.
Free your brain from the Christ delusion.
Surging bloodstream to this point.
Life in the planet.
The blue here shows how a healthy lung empties oxygen into the bloodstream.
The seat of the soul, the spirit, the air.
Can't empty nearly as well.
The concept of the spirit or soul originated with the ancient Egyptians 5,000 years ago. It was represented with wings, and the birds floated in this atmosphere, which is the spirit world. The air in our lungs, that is the soul and the spirit. And we can see all that in ancient representations. The Romans copy it, as you can see here, with wings and cupids and Hermes and the messenger of the gods using wings and birds. And the Christians copy with the Holy Spirit, with winged individuals like angels and Nikes and annunciations and archangels and all delusions, all retardations. Even Christ has a little bird in here. So it is retarded to actually believe in these delusions. People, we're in the 21st century, not in the 4th.
From Raven Atheist, post a picture of the imaginary friend. Who needs an imaginary friend? It is created by our brains. Whoever believes in imaginary friends are mentally ill or retarded.